Good afternoon. How are you? Well, it's beautiful again today. As I look where I'm going. Look at the colors. It's just amazing. If life could be just one continuous stroll down a beautiful road, and in a way it is, a lot of it is. The best parts of life are like that. So today we have a day in which, if Jefferson was around, he would recognize that we're about 66 degrees, very comfortable, that the humidity is 43, and that the wind, which I don't see at all, is about 8 miles an hour. You've heard me say, talking about Sir Thomas More in his conversation, in which he said that if we were to erase all the laws, could we stand in the wind that would blow? So there's not much wind on this road, but there is a driving wind of bullshit in America like I don't remember in my lifetime. And I'm talking, of course, about Trump today. Trump tells us America is a garbage can. That's what he tells us. This guy who wants to be our president says America is a garbage can. And I think we should throw out Trump as we would throw out the garbage. But let's talk a little bit about how that comes about. How was he created? Let me divert a little bit to what it is that I do for a living, which is to ask questions. And in my own experience, I once had this powerful public figure. I was taking his deposition, and I had been told how forceful he could be, but I had never witnessed it in any venue. And here I was, he's under oath, and I'm asking him questions. And at some point, he decided to let me have a taste of the power that he was. And he was a powerful speaker. And I don't remember if he pounded the table, but I had that feeling while he was talking. And then I realized, that I couldn't just be entertained by it. This was being directed at me to overcome my ability to ask questions and to get at the truth of the matter. And so I came on to that. I put aside truly enjoying this master. And as a result, this investigation went in a direction that was not favorable to that public figure. I think it was deserved. I think it was necessary. Now, we have people asking questions of Trump and the corrupt minions that surround him and the people who have studied and devoted their forensics and their ability to speak to this kind of... It's not a revolution. It's really an attack on our country. It's not a garbage can. But when you hear people question him, what happens is it's sort of like, I've seen at depositions, things like this. A person who's come and they have a list of questions and they ask those. What's your name? My name is John Jones. Where do you live? I live on 22 Maple Street downtown. How long have you lived there? I killed him. I'm glad I did it. And I stabbed him multiple times. And I have no regrets about it. Could you tell me your address again? They don't ask the important questions. And with Trump, he's been encouraged, therefore, to disclose who he is. In his desperation in Arizona, he talks about the people who come here are garbage. Why? Because they're not white? Why? Because they're not Protestant? Why? Because they're not malleable to him? He came to this country. You want to see garbage? Him and his dad and their practices in real estate. That's true garbage. That's who Trump is. That anyone in America could support this bastard after those remarks today is a person who himself or herself does not understand freedom. And when it's gone, it's like age and health and all the things that we must harbor to have as good a life as we can. And government is a function of that. The great philosopher said there is no higher ambition than politics, the art of the possible. But there are all kinds of politics. Let's take a look at Trump. In his inauguration in 2017, he ran down our nation then. It wasn't enough. Republicans didn't push back. He was impeached twice, but no one convicted him. He has in recent days talked about the Alien Act. I doubt that he knew what it was. Bannon or one of his underlings lead him toward the solution. Well, the Alien Act permitted John Adams, a Federalist, to throw aliens out of America. Then he was concerned about the French, because Adams favored Britain over France, and Jefferson favored France ever since Lafayette made such a difference in the Revolution and made it possible for us to be independent of George III, and felt that same way as France was finding its way to freedom by its own revolution against the king. But nobody publicly speaks about that. Nor are we speaking about the Sedition Act. The Sedition Act, and they often are referred to together, the Alien and Sedition Acts. The Sedition Acts were to punish people for what they said against the president. And it was used against the Jeffersonian Republicans, who were more comfortable with the French than they were with Great Britain. Now, no one says the Alien Act was not used. Adams himself, although Congress passed it, Adams never used the Alien Act, but he did use the Sedition Act. And he used that against mostly publishers of material favorable to the Jeffersonian Republicans. So when we hear Trump today channeling Adams because he wants to go after what people are saying, he wants to go after the press, he wants to talk about them as an enemy, though the First Amendment says they're supposed to be able to criticize the press. In fact, that's how we test the value of our government, that we have not just access to it, but an opportunity to complain about it. We have Trump, who talks about our elected official, the former Speaker of the House, and others, as enemies within, enemy of the people. That's who Trump is, and that anyone could spend a nanosecond thinking to support him for president on November the 5th is a person who will suffer us all for the loss of a republic, for the loss of a democracy, for the loss of freedoms that have made America the place that Trump's forebears wanted to come here, that my grandparents wanted to come here, that probably you who are listening to this are of a family that decided to come here. Now, the Irish know something about Great Britain, and they know about Anglophiles in America, and they know about the Tories who would suppress anyone who was not of their kind. And the people who first came here were fleeing places that punished them for being who they were, what they believed, what they wanted to say. Maryland was supposed to be a safe place for Catholics, Roman Catholics. Jack Kennedy had to break through that barrier himself years later. When have we chosen a president who said anything like Trump is saying? This is not a question of his free speech to run down our nation. This is a man who is running for his life from prosecutions, from civil judgments, from the reputation he has to a position of power to get even. He even tells us that's what it is he's doing. That's who he is. So today, there are other things we could talk about, but I can't imagine anything more important than talking about the evil that is within the husk of a man who goes by the name of Trump. And that polls indicate that there is a hair's breadth between Trump and Kamala Harris. There's got to be a failure of a system that could end like that. And mark my words, if lightning strikes and this guy's ahead on November the 5th, that won't be the end of it. We will be fighting for years afterwards to suppress his kind of government. And there will be, well, but let's not think about that. What we have to think about from now and every day of the week plus that we have until November the 5th, who else can vote? Who else can we take to vote? And we must win this election or probably lose the soul of America and the freedoms that this nation represents, that Trump has no interest in. And we have the great con running against the team who believe in the Constitution and the future of America. If there's ever been a simpler decision about what direction a government should take, this is it. So, I leave you for now in my cathedral of trees, and I'll be out here again tomorrow. And we have to beat this bastard. It's the most important thing we may ever do in a vote in our lives. Bye-bye.